excuse me, as my voice goes. Dang it, it's gone.
Yeah, leave him on the cliffhanger. I get an entry for what? Oh no, we'll never know.
You're listening to, and this is why I love comics.
Andy and Mike. Andy and Mike.
Please elaborate.
And welcome to another episode of This Is Why I Love Comics. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
What I'm hoping to do with this episode, we're going to talk about creator deaths, some happy stuff. I just thought of this. I want to talk about episode 100. I've got plans. And I want to discuss it with Mike. Yeah, I want to do like a giveaway or drawing or something. Get to that in a moment. There has been some, since we've recorded last, we lost Jim Shooter.
Yeah.
And we lost
Struzan just passed.
Yeah, he just passed. Of course, he did thousands of movie posters.
Yeah. The entire 80s was pretty much dedicated to Struzan artwork.
I followed him on Facebook. I think he just got like a new studio, and it's very sad. He wasn't that old, but I think he had Alzheimer's. Yeah, that's like every poster of our childhood.
Yeah.
He had a hand in. It's really sad. What a talent, though. I mean, wow.
Yeah, that was the illustrator that one of my professors in college still holds Logregard, but they both went to the same college at the same time. Drew Struzan would always come in apparently late to class so that he could put his painting on the top of the stack of paintings that all the students would turn in to be critiqued. The professor of the college would, okay, let's work our way through these paintings and critique them. Yeah. And the first one then obviously would become Drew Struzan's painting. And you're like, good grief, how are you going to follow this dude?
That's genius. I'm sure some of it's ego, at least back then, but he was good. Like, he could back up what he had. So,
he had the skill. He could do whatever he wanted.
He knew what he was doing. Sad to hear he left. Jim Shooter, of course, guided Marvel through a lot of big events and Secret Wars. Of course, I know him more as a 13-year-old Lisa Superheroes writer.
Oh, isn't that crazy?
That is super crazy. But back then, all you had to do was write DC and say, hey, I could do this better. And they'd hire you on the spot,
There wasn't any background checks.
Nope. If only I lived back then, but such an early age. And he created, like Karate Kid and Princess Projectra, and, a bunch of great historic Legion of Superheroes storylines. Of course, went on to run Marvel for many, many years.
And ironically, something that I enjoy is some of the new universe stuff. I've been picking those up recently, and they're all in the dollar bin. They're worth the buck. It's an interesting to be able to go, I can own an entire comic company's run. Oddly enough, they didn't last the longest, but they seem to have had the longest impact, which is that Star Brand and Night Mask were the two that I were the first out of the gates for me to get and collect.
Yeah, like you said, that's two characters or ideas that have shown up in recent New Avengers books. Recent, probably 5 years ago or something. But the Star Brand one, I've always was interested in, probably because it's kind of a Green Lantern-ish kind of character.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of it, I don't know really anything about. I have maybe a scattering of issues. I think I've ever read them. Yeah, it would be kind of neat to go back and review and see what it was all about. Now, that was story-wise, that was the Beyonder, wasn't it? Created this new universe.
Yeah, basically. Which, when you think about it, it was the clear precursor to the Doomsday Clock that DC later ripped off. Because you think about, what did the new universe? Okay, the Beyonder leaves the Marvel universe and creates his own universe. And according to Jeff Johns in the Doomsday Clock, Dr. Manhattan leaves the Watchmen comic series and creates the New 52.
Yes, that's right.
and launches that whole comic series only to find, that the finite experiment. And that's kind of what happened with the new universe as well.
Oh, you just triggered something in me. So what is the deal with DC right now? They have an absolute character universe
Yes.
and a regular continuity universe and an Earth 2 continuity universe, or is that gone now?
I don't know about the Earth 2 component. I do feel as if they have kept to the 52 different universes that they had, but then they've gone into like, that Scott Snyder dude just kind of throws out whatever kind of idea that pops into his noggin. And there's like negative universes, which are the bad guy, even deeper evil. And it's like, oh, okay, whatever. But this new one, Absolute, is something about like, I haven't read any of them, but it has to do with like the influence of Darkseid throughout the entire universe.
But it's a new continuity.
Correct. Yeah, that has nothing to do with, so like Batman's a construction worker and Superman's got different kinds of powers, and it's more of a social political piece about, Krypton being more or less kind of racist and caste systems and stuff like that.
Okay, I guess that makes kind of sense, but why another universe? Why at least just call it an Elseworld universe instead? See, I told you triggered something in me there.
Well, there's talk of a crossover, so that's why.
Yeah, well, that makes it even worse. Like now, it's just another storyline, like Kingdom Come, that they just use to cross over and
shoehorn it into the regular continuity. That seemed popular. Let's keep it going.
Right, exactly. And if they're gonna do it, just keep it separate and run its course. And they rebooted Spider-Man and all that stuff, and have it be its own separate thing. Let Mark Waid create comics in the regular universe. And I mean, what do I know? They everything I've read says it's really popular and great storylines. I also have doubts these days on the reviews I read. What's hype and what's the truth. Not sure we'll ever know again.
Not like we used to. Back in the day, there was, you could follow the stuff. And now it's just, one, I still feel that it's cost prohibitive to just experiment like you used to. It was still 25 cents, still 35 cents. You felt like that was I could buy a soda, or I could buy, a comic book. A Slurpee or a comic were pretty much the same price.
But not
Slurpees are.
Can I feed my family, or can I buy 2 comic books?
Yeah. So, and with them being such a short medium, 22 pages or less, there's just like not much for you to kind of go, that's worth the money. I want to dive into it and buy this. You look at how much book you get in a manga for 15 if you buy it brand new. Black and white, certainly, but you get like 10 issues, whereas you get 1 issue for $5 on a good day. And, the story's just scratching the surface and it's over. And it's like, well,
the art's probably beautiful though.
And that's kind of the trade-off is like, they've gone with trying to get professional writers, somewhat questionable on occasion, and pay them, a living wage. And then artists, there are better artists out there. And I'm saying true art is out there now, as opposed to the classic comic book illustration. There was a time and place where it's like I could identify any Marvel comic character by, the artist that drew them. It's like, oh yeah, that's definitely a Gil Kane hand. Oh, that's a Sal Buscema hand. That's a, John Romita Sr. At that time it would have just been John Romita. You could identify just the hands by, the artist who drew that hand. Now there's just, everybody just comes and goes so fleetingly that they don't have the longevity, and the illustrations are so well refined. The coloring is so over the top. The inking is so over the top that you just don't get that individual personality like you used to.
While you're paying for the color and it looks great, you've lost the personality of the artist. And not everybody, obviously, in the long term. I just don't think that these artists are gonna, you could switch them with 50 other people and not know who did what.
Yeah.
Like where, like you said, we recognize a John Byrne, an Art Adams, a Barry Windsor Smith in an instant. That's it. That's Michael Gold, George Perez, and it's just I don't think you're going to get that nowadays. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe current kids will recognize their favorites.
But at $5, it's kind of tough to justify, doing that on a monthly basis per title and getting, because I mean, when you and I were in the height of our collecting, this is the Jim Lee X-Men era, and we're both pulling in tons of books a month.
Every X-Men title.
Yeah. And it was like, this is great. We're just buying comics and buying comics and buying comics. The price tag wasn't that prohibitive, but we were getting so many books. It was great to read. And then what books that you didn't get, you could read mine. And now you don't have that distribution type setup where it's like, hey, I'll grab these books, you grab those books. And when I'm done, you can have them. And then we'll just swap and you can kind of keep up. Now it's like, nope, no one's swapping comics, so then you're left to your own devices to try to get all the books. So when it comes to like these Absolute, it's like, are you buying all of the Absolute series plus the regular DC continuity plus the, and you're like, nope, there's too many things going on.
Yeah, these people online who say, here's what I got this Wednesday, and they get like 30 books. I'm like, where are you getting this? Is your credit card statement like huge and then getting larger every month? I just can't imagine, a car payment for, the amount of comics you just spent. It blows my mind. Great if you can afford it.
Yeah, it's difficult. I don't mind, getting collected series, which is probably the other bane, is I kind of like knowing that the stories has got a finite run to it. So when it's just ongoing in perpetuity forever and ever and ever and ever, it's like, I am kind of going to stay away from that. I kind of like knowing that there's some closure. That's what I said about the new universe, which was so nice. Is like, they may not have been the best characters or the best stories. They did at least wrap up their series.
Well, even, trying to pursue my Justice League of America. So, I at least know there's only 261 issues, so there's been 1,000 Justice League since then. But for that series, self-contained, 261, I have 251 of them. When I get the other 10, that's it. I'm done. That's the collection. Wrap it up. Get older. I'm not reading all these books I'm getting. We've had this conversation before. If they were cheaper, I would try other books and experiment a little bit. But $6 a pop, I better like that story a lot. Jim Shooter.
Yeah, get back to 13-year-old Jim Shooter.
Right. A lot of people did not like Jim Shooter, but I think in his position at Marvel and, the type of person he came across, especially probably in this prime, you're gonna tick a lot of creators off because you have this vision. I can't argue with this end result because there's a bunch of books during that time that I really liked a lot. He didn't write every one of them, but he oversaw it all or hired, decent editors to oversee it. So that 80s time, the great hall of comic book creators, he certainly deserves to be in that hall.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember he was referred to as the tallest man in comics.
And I did meet him once. I do have his signature on a couple of books. I do remember him being tall. That's pretty much all I didn't have a conversation with him, obviously, or anything like that. So unfortunately, that's most of the convention experience I have is, step up, sign, okay, see you, bye. I really like your stuff. Get pushed away,
You wonder how often they hear that phrase over and over again. It's like, I really like your work. No kidding. You're here.
You just waited in line for a half hour for my signature.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Is there anybody you'd wait in line for these days to get it signed?
Ooh, that's a great question. Probably not. I'm trying to think. Obviously, really my ability to stand in line would be like for, one of the few people who are still around in the old days, like Steranko maybe.
Yeah.
or someone like that. Otherwise, like modern, for Ed Brubaker, I'd love to say hi and get a signature or something.
Yeah.
And we just talked about Marvel Zombies, Sean Phillips. Sure, that'd be cool to do a Brubaker Phillips.
Their partnership's been phenomenal.
But other than that, no, I don't think so. I've been trying to think who the old timers are that are still around. I'm sure there's a couple.
Yeah, I would probably linger for Alan Moore if I ever had a chance, and Chris Sprouse, and he's actually coming somewhat close. My son shared a link with a comic convention or a pop culture convention that happens to have comic artists, and Chris Sprouse is there.
Really?
Do you want me to get something signed? And I'm like going, I don't know. There's a part of me that if I get things signed, I kind of want to do it myself, so I can kind of like the signature itself isn't as important of just noting that I met this person.
Yeah, I'm in the same way. I don't need just a signature. Really, if it doesn't mean anything, except it's not like I'm going to sell it for the signature or anything like that.
I'm not flipping these things.
Right. So I'd want to meet him. Chris Sprouse is. I want to meet him. I want him on the podcast. I want to talk about Tom Strong. If there was someone I want on the podcast, it's Chris Sprouse. That's for sure.
That dude can just about draw anything.
Yeah. Oh, I did think about thinking about Chris Sprouse. I'd really like to meet Alan Davis, maybe.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of connection with Alan Davis, only in that he was on titles that I would look at and go, that's really amazing art, but then I wouldn't pay any attention to it because it was a topic or a character or series I wasn't interested in, like Excalibur. I wasn't that interested in.
Oh, but they're so beautiful.
And then he did I do have like the nail.
Okay, yeah. We're going to talk about that.
Even that I got like years after. I mean, absolutely years after. It wasn't like as it was coming out or anything like that. So
I have the nail and the nail 2-inch trade. So,
nice.
Yeah, Alan Davis, old timer, Romeo, Tangal, or some obscure but stuff I really like his stuff, and he's been around forever. Modern day, I couldn't tell you who a lot of these people are.
No, not at all.
Not that they're not talented. I just, like we said, they're kind of just all into one humongous artist, that does everything kind of on the computer and just doesn't mean anything to me anymore.
No, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
When there was this personality. Do you follow any of the awards, like the comic awards, like the Eisners, the Harveys, any of those?
When they come out, I read them, who won or like that, but I don't follow. I couldn't tell you who won the last 5 years or whatever. It's probably because of my collecting days are over for new stuff. I don't recognize a lot of the names unless it's an old guy.
Because there were like the Eagle Awards and all these other ones. You remember? I mean, there was a lot of them out there for a while.
Yeah.
It was like every Comic-Con had to have their own award ceremony. And I know like the Eisners was associated with San Diego Comic-Con. I don't know where the Harveys, there's a lot of, it's good for that kind of an industry to have those moments of like, hey, they got recognized. But I'm also like, when it has no impact, not like you can go like, oh, that's that Harvey Award winning comic. It's like, no one knows. Yeah. They're going to continue doing whatever it was that they were doing. It's not like they're going to go like, the next project's going to be even better from them. And one of my favorite series of all times is that, Chris Sprouse, Alan Moore cross with the Supreme Eisner Award winning, which is like, holy crap, I would never have thought of that have happened with that Supreme character that Rob Liefeld came up with. But you put Alan Moore and Chris Sprouse on it, and sure enough, yes, Eisner Award winning. And the series folded within issues after that. I think Liefeld went more or less bankrupt with yet another publisher, and it's like, nope, done. Just can't afford to keep paying people. So Alan Moore called it quits and walked away. I did have, going back to Drew Struzan, because of my Masters of the Universe interest, he clearly had done the Masters of the Universe movie poster. He had done a version of it. And when they launched the 2002 era Masters of the Universe comic books, they hired Drew Struzan to do a poster for it.
Oh, that's
one of
cool.
the variant covers. I do have that kind of connection with Drew Struzan as well. It's like,
So
this dude was all over. He was, movies of the 80s and 90s. And they brought him back to do some more stuff just for He-Man. One-off.
So you actually have a comic book of him or of his work?
Well, he did just the cover. It was a variant cover.
Anything comic-wise, but just so many posters that I can just visualize in my head that he's done. Indiana Jones and Star Wars.
Yeah, all the special edition stuff, all the prequel stuff.
Howard the Duck, like everything.
Yeah. Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, Goonies. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Muppet movies even. So that dude was all over. You wanted a good movie. You knew the movie was going to be good if it had a Drew Struzan poster is what it boiled down to.
Okay, before I lose my voice, let's talk about episode 100. This is episode 86. So, listeners, you have 14 episodes to do this. And here's what I have planned. Every time you comment, email, message us, text us, or post anything about us, you get an entry into our giveaway. I'm compiling a giveaway of prizes, and the winner gets all of them. Now, you cannot be a member of our crew. You cannot be people I mentioned at the end of the show. I want total strangers to register. So if you give us a 5-star review, I'm giving you 5 entries into possibly winning because we need more reviews out there. It's going to be at least 10 trades of my own. I already have 2 of them picked out, but I'll save that for a future discussion. And it includes one item that I've already posted, drawing I got from a signed pro. I'm going to include that in. Now, I do have one reality check rule about this.
Once we get 100 entries or something, so let your friends and neighbors know.
So I'm going to have at least, I'll do at least 10 trades and a signed item, a signed drawing that I got back in the 90s for the winner. We'll either announce the winner at 100 or at 101. And I haven't given this a name yet. But if you do this for this episode, I'm going to start the clock whenever this is published and put out, which will be before Halloween. That's when the entries start coming in. And even if you like our post on Facebook, if you send us an email and say, hey, hi, I'm out there listening to you guys. I just want to know you're out there. And if you prove you're out there, you're entered into the drawing, and we'll do the drawing, and I'll let you know who wins. We might even have a second place. We'll see how many items I can find for you. I'll make it worth your while. It won't be, it won't be lame issues. It'll be even stuff.
Black Condor number 5,
right? Primal Force number 8. But it'll be some of the trades we've talked about. Some of the ones that we will talk about in the next 14 episodes. So get your entries in now, and let's start this off. Let's get to 100. Now, you have until we get to 100, and at this rate, you might have all next year to do it. So, so you got time, but the sooner you get them in, and I'll at the end of every episode, if we get a few in, I will mention that you are entered so that I saw your stuff, or I'll at least let you know, depending on how I got the notice that you responded. So, listeners, I know there's over 500 cities, many countries. Let us know you're out there and enter to win a bunch of prizes. And I'm paying for shipping and everything, so nothing costs to you. How about that?
Maybe a little slice of your soul.
That's right. I'm downsizing. I'm going to send you some cool stuff that is starting now. Oh, look at all these reviews.
Yeah. It's like the old Jerry Lewis telethons.
Yeah.
What's our numbers today?
Let's take it to the board.
Ed McMahon saying yes.
Yes. Let's see. If you have any comments or questions, I know this episode was short, but that's how we like it. You can send us a note about the show, and that will enter you, by the way, into the contest. Our webpage is in thisiswhyilovecomics.podcast.buzzsprout.com. You can email us at thisiswhyilovecomics@gmail.com. You can join us on the X, and this is YL1. We're on the Facebook, and this is Why I Love Comics Podcast. We're on the TikTok, Why I Love Comics Podcast. Thanks to producer Katie, producer Tony, co-host Matt 2.0, Kevin, Jamie, Matt 10.0. We're going to definitely have them on before episode 100. Quote me on that. We are on the Facebook, and there's information about the contest. For the podcast, I'm Andy.
You know, Mike.
And I'm losing my voice. But thanks, Thunder Chicken, for the tunes. You can check them out on Spotify. You can always look in our show notes for all the links. And if you have any questions, let us know.
Talk to me, kiss me, show me.
Mike, it was good talking to you again.
Yeah, very much. It was great to get back in the saddle, as they say.
Yeah, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Oh man, I was like playing chess with death.
You had your knight and your rook.
Yep, they were pretty well in check, pretty quick. It was very much a Bergman film there for a moment. I was, whew.